A good night of Shabbos. Sometimes things happen and you're not empowered to be able to attend certain things or things that you'd like to attend to. But you feel compelled to speak about them. This week, the father of one of the most influential families in Oak Park in Southfield, the Jewish community, passed away. His name is Robert Torgow, Bob Torgow, whose son, Gary, is perhaps the most influential Jew in all of Greater Detroit. Of course, there are two younger sisters, and Bob Torgow had a very colorful life, and I was not one of his close compatriots. But I did have interactions with Bob. My first recollection of Bob was when I came to town, and in order to raise some money, one of the things that I was asked to do was to sell the books of the Merkaz Li'Chinuch, the Lubavitch books. Where could I sell the books? I called some of the temples, some of the synagogues. Nobody wanted to let me in. Rav Baksh Zatzal, the Rosh Yeshiva of the Yeshiva Gedela, allowed me to sell some books in the Yeshiva Beis Yehuda hallway. There was some who came and questioned, and I said I had permission from Rav Baksh, said let me go. And I had a table filled with some Jewish books, most of them in English. And of course, they were inappropriate for yeshiva. The yeshiva boys were looking for svarim, for the Tzemach Tzedek, for the Shulchan Aruch, for Piskei Dinim. They weren't interested in the English books. There were people who davened there, and they just passed by, noticed that there's some young, weird rabbi trying to sell some English books. Bob Torgow saw that nobody was buying. He wanted to show that this was important. He walked over and bought a couple of books from me. And if it was one or two, but he bought some books for me. I think it might have been two. And I had to get him a copy, and I didn't want to get paid, but he paid me in advance. And I delivered the books to his home in Oak Park. Later, a couple of years later, we had a mutual friend, Sid Feldman, Olav Shalom. Sidney was influenced by Bob to join a learning group. And they asked me to teach that learning group for a while, and for about a year or two, on, I think it was Thursday night, I led that group. And Bob was one of the participants. Bob never said anything. But Bob's concerns was always about the Yiddishkeit of the other person. He was mostly concerned about what the participants enjoyed and what they would like to learn, and they wanted to make sure, he wanted to always make sure that everyone was comfortable. And throughout the years, he was close to my president, Arnold Zurov of blessed memory. Bob was always there for them, and always concerned and always looking out for the other person. This was not a function of business. He didn't need it for business. Bob Torgow was a mensch and always did something, whatever he could, to make things better with other people, whether it was material or spiritual. And those are my recollections of Bob Torgow of blessed memory. Maybe a good Tibeter, good interceder on behalf of his family and for the sake of all the Jews of Detroit. A good night of Shabbos.